to be the person that locks down production. And so that was a really strange but amazing time, because there were so many of my peers who weren't able to work. And I think when you've got Netflix behind you that can just pump a load of money in it and get a test center up and running in the studios, we were so lucky to be able to actually film. But there were so many other productions that just didn't have that kind of force behind them to be able to do that. So I feel so grateful. But yeah, obviously the year was not without its own struggle.
Yeah, and there's so
in
much
other ways.
There's so much uncertainty as to like, am I going to do the next project or not?
Absolutely. And it was really sad to see all the theatres close down. I went to the theatre again for the first time, I think a month ago. Yeah, it felt like a religious experience. I was just sat there like, oh my God, I can't believe how much I've missed this. So that was amazing, and it feels great that that kind of stuff is happening again. But still in London, so many of the theatres are completely empty, and some of the smaller ones have had to close, and no idea if they'll ever open again, which is so sad. I guess it must have been similar here.
Yes,
yeah.
Yes, and a lot of places, not just theaters, but closed down. And
yeah.
It's really sad. But
and I guess ironic that people were questioning the validity of the arts when everyone was at home watching TV.
Right? Yes.
So
everyone was watching
hey.
The Witcher.
Yeah.
They were. But yeah, we're really lucky to be here, and we're very privileged to be able to have access to the vaccine and just be in a country where we can have these types of events safely. Okay, so putting that aside, I know that a lot of people have questions for you for The Witcher and Harry Potter, so I just want to go back a little bit to Hollyoaks.
Yeah, of course.
And Ruby Button, and I know that you took that on when you were quite young, right?
Yeah, so I think I got the part when I was 8. I was fresh out of school, 18. My plan was that I was going to go to university, but we were filming, were we filming the last ever Harry Potter? I think I was 18 when that came out, so maybe we weren't still filming, but there was some obligations to do with that I still had to do, which meant I stopped school a bit sooner than everyone else. So my plan was, I'll have a year out, I'll go back and get the grades that I need to then go to university, and then I'll go to university. And then I had this audition for, I think, Lime Pictures, they make Hollyoaks. They also made a show called Anubis House, and I had an audition for that, and it was this long day up in Liverpool in the north of England, workshopping some scenes with them, and I thought it went really well. I was like, okay, great, maybe I've got a shot at this. And then I didn't hit anything for months and months, and then I just got a call being like, hey, do you want to come and play Ruby Button in Hollyoaks? I was like, what? But I didn't even audition for Hollyoaks. But I guess they thought maybe I was better suited for that show. And so I had I think it was a 6-week contract, and then I stayed for 3.5 years, like a bad smell. I was
going to ask what that experience was like for you and how you grew as an actor and also as a person on that show.
You know what? I feel so grateful to have had that experience. I think soaps get a bit of a bad rep in general. People kind of turn their nose up at them or whatever. And I think that's so unfair. It's the best way to cut your teeth in this industry. It's so quick. You have barely any time to learn your lines, so you have to get them down, and you might get a revision the night before that's changed everything, and you just have to go with it. And I think soap actors are some of the hardest working people on the planet, because it really is tough. And you're filming maybe different episodes in a different chronology, yes. Different order, and you're getting all these different scripts, and you might end up filming 7 or 8 different episodes within 1 week, and your head's just all over the place. And it's a really forgiving environment too, because people have been on these shows for years and years and years, and it becomes like a family. So it's an amazing place to make mistakes, really. So I feel so grateful to have had that experience, to try things. I think when my first episode on the show, because it was filmed up north, and I'd never been up north before, and I watched it back and I was like, I think I've got a bit of a weird northern accent that I had adopted to try and fit in. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to do that anymore. And then started using my normal accent again. So there's definitely some ropey episodes that I hope never see the light of day again. But as I said, I wouldn't change any of it, because it taught me so much.
You're right. I think soap actors don't get enough credit for everything they do.
Totally.
Yeah.
And it's on every single day. It's like this machine. There's no end time. There's no holiday. That it just goes on and on and on. And dramas are amazing, but you might film for 6 weeks and then that's it. But it's like the soaps. It's continuous. It's hard graft. And I'm proud of my soap background.
So what's it like leaving a show like that you said becomes like a family?
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. And as I said, I was 18 when I started, and I think I was about 21 when I left. So for me, it was like going to university, and they were my people. I'd been around them for 3.5 years. I'd grown up. I'd got drunk. I'd disgraced myself in front of everyone. But we were such a tight-knit group of friends. So to leave them was really, really difficult. But it made sense for me. It felt like I had done that character. And it was, they wrote me out in a really lovely way. I just went off to Spain, so I was always able to come back if I needed to or wanted to. So it was hard, but it was the right thing to do, I think.
So you spend a lot of time with Ruby, the character, but not so much time with Romilda, just because of the nature of films.
Yeah.
But did you want to get to know Romilda better?
Yeah, maybe. I think with Romilda, it was a tough one because obviously in the books, she's a bit more of a fuller character. We see her more in the books. But in the films, there's so much to pack in. There's just not the opportunity to do that. So you have to use your imagination a little bit. And it would have been cool to act out some of the things that are in the books. But I was so happy with what I got to do with her. And it was such an amazing experience. And I wouldn't change it for the world. Even to be in it for 1 second was enough,
I think I saw a post the other day that they should do a TV series based on Harry Potter because there's just so much in that. And like a film just doesn't cover it.
Absolutely.
And then all the characters would get enough time and would get their own storylines properly
I think we should try and make this happen.
And give Romilda a proper episode. Yes, absolutely. Are you still in touch with the cast by any chance?
Yes, I'm still in touch with loads of people from Harry Potter, which is just such a gift. They're all such sweethearts, and we live quite close to each other in London. Well, the ones that live in London anyway. And Jessie Cave is one of my besties. She only lives about 15 minutes down the road from me, so I'll cycle over, see her and the kids as much as I can. Everyone, we try and meet up, but it is hard. Everyone's doing different things. Some people aren't even acting anymore. Some people are acting loads and off in America. And so when we can, we'll try and do a dinner. And Lawrence, I don't know if he's here, my lovely agent. He was in Harry Potter many years ago as well, so he's really good at getting everyone together, and he's like the main organizer. He'll be like, right, we're going for dinner at this time, let's make it happen. And of course, Comic-Cons are an amazing excuse to get together as well, and they kind of bring people that you might have been really close to at the time, but have just lost touch with, and then you're like, oh my God, guys, this is amazing, and have an amazing weekend somewhere fabulous like Romania, so hey.
Thank you. Well, okay, let's move on to The Witcher. So I know that there are people who read the books, and then there are people who played the game, and then the series came out. Was there a lot of pressure on you to get her character right, to get Triss right?
I think any character you take on that has a pre-existing life in a book or a game or something that it's based on, you definitely feel that responsibility. You want to do the fans justice because this new kind of life that you're giving it wouldn't exist without the fan support initially. So you never want to disappoint anyone, of course. But I think there also has to be room for you to take on a new interpretation of the character and to maybe find something that the fans didn't even think of initially that they might like. So I think you hope that people will come to it with an openness. And, that's the great thing about having another season of the show, because it's like, okay, maybe we didn't win everyone round the first time, but we'll give it another go for round 2. We'll see what happens.
Are you excited for season 2 to come out?
I'm really excited for season 2 to come out. I think it has a different feel. Obviously, we were filming in Hungary before, and we filmed in the UK this time in the studio, so and there's a different costume designer, there's a different makeup designer, so I think people will get a different feel for it. Obviously, still keeping the things that we loved about season 1, but adding something a bit different, a bit fresher. I think people are really going to love it.
And what was it like working on the show? And especially, I think a lot of people are curious to know, what was it like working with Henry?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I mean, it's like nothing I've ever worked on before, actually, because even though, obviously, Harry Potter is fantasy to a certain degree, it's quite rooted in reality, and you still have lots of elements of normal life. But The Witcher, the continent's just this crazy world, and there's so many different things going on, and the sets are so incredible. They really transport you there, as do the costumes and the makeup. And obviously working with Henry was a really amazing experience. He's so lovely and so right for that character. So I learnt loads from him. There were so many other people that I've had the opportunity to work with as well in season 2 without giving anything away. I'm so paranoid. I'm like, I can't say
We don't
anything.
mind if you give anything away.
But the opportunity to work with other people was really exciting too, and especially with some of the more seasoned actors who have been working for years and years, getting to learn from them was just amazing. You know, you're like, okay, great, this is my job, but I also get to learn. Doesn't really get much better than that. Yeah.
Did you learn anything about Tris while you were filming that you didn't know before starting?
Yeah, I think especially with season 2, something that I was really trying to work on with Tris was, so I always like to bring a kind of vulnerability to characters and a softness, but it was interesting to try and find some of her harsher parts as well, and especially where we leave her in season 1. You know, she's been through a lot, so to take that on for season 2 was a challenge for me because, you know, I hope that I'm quite a happy, bubbly kind of person, so to find a darker side to Tris was tough for me to do, but really rewarding to get there in the end.
Is The Witcher the type of show that you'd watch if you weren't in it?
Oh, that is a good question. Do you know what? I would watch it, but I love crap TV, and it's not crap. I love The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, The Real Housewives of New York, Love Island's just ended, I'm gutted. Like, I'm a reality TV addict. And I'm proud.
Is anyone else watching Love Island? Hell yeah. Good, nice. You're right, you mentioned earlier that there's just so much happening in The Witcher. Like every episode I was like, wait, a striga?
Yeah.
What's a striga? What is this? What is that? And I think, you know, they did such a good job at like bringing on these new things. But how as an actor did you adapt to a new word like that? And do you prefer more like realistic acting that's more like, okay, this is like slice of life type thing?
Well, I think it's interesting because when you're doing something that's more realistic, in a way that's harder because you don't have, you know, in The Witcher you have this incredible costume and you step into that and you're like, right, okay, I feel like I'm in character. It's much harder to do that if you're dressed in similar clothes that you'd usually wear. So you feel a bit like you, but you're trying to play someone else. That's quite hard. But I think, hey, lots of different actors have different methods and different things that they pull from, but I've always believed that you have to find something in each character that you can relate to or that you can identify with and think, okay, cool, maybe I've never killed someone if you're playing a murderer, but I understand extreme emotion. I've felt so passionately about something before. Cool, it didn't lead me to kill someone, but I could get to that point where I can understand why someone would do that. And so I think that's what you have to do in any world, whether it's fantasy or reality. You just have to find the thing that you go, oh, I know that. Oh, I've been heartbroken before. Or I felt really righteous about something before. And then you take that and run with it.
That's a really good way to put it. It's a good advice for me as an actor. Thank you. So I'm curious. I watched an interview with you from 2013 at the BAFTA Games Awards.
What was I
Here we go.
saying, Maria?
And you were asked what kind of character you'd like to play in a video game, a princess or a baddie.
What did I say?
And you said you wouldn't want to play a princess, but that you're too boring to be a baddie. Do you feel like that has changed?
Probably still the same. I'd like to think I could be a baddie, but I'm just too, I want to watch my reality TV. I want a happy, simple life, Maybe I could be a princess now. Just sit in my castle watching reality TV. That would be fine.
I'd say you
Wait
can
to
play
be saved.
anything you want.
Thank you.
You have the ability to play anything you want. I was curious because you said earlier, we were talking about the Harry Potter cast, and you said that some of them moved to the US and stuff. Is that something that you were interested in at some point in your life?
So, without, no, it's not, because for me, not to go there, but the politics, I don't think I could live somewhere like that. And that's rich because British politics is pretty fucked as well, and I live there. But I don't really have the choice because I'm from there. But I think to actively make the choice to go to America, things are getting a bit better, but it's not something that I think I would choose to do at this time in my life.
Cool. You're also very young, so if at any point you change your mind, there's always time.
Exactly.
So.
It's a beautiful country. I've been lucky to visit, but for now, visiting's fine by me.
So what does next year look like in terms of project for you?
So we're waiting to see what's going to happen next with The Witcher, which is really exciting. And then I mentioned it before, but my husband and I have just opened a wine bar in London, so that's keeping me pretty busy at the moment.
God. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's cool. If anyone ever gets the chance to come to London, come and check us out.
I feel like a lot of people go to London just for vacation and stuff from Romania, so definitely.
And you guys have amazing wine here, so come and try some of our stuff.
Is this your first time? No, it's your second time.
No, my second time, but I didn't really get to experience it at all last time. So hopefully tonight we can go and have a nice dinner somewhere, drink some nice wine.
And maybe in the future you'll come back.
Yeah, do a proper holiday.
Yeah. Okay, there's a microphone in the audience, so if people want to ask questions, I'm going to open it up for questions. I see a brave person here.
Okay, seems to work.
Hello.
Hi again. You mentioned about going back to the theater. Here we were lucky enough, and I think we've had them open since May.
Oh, great.
Yeah, and it has been a joy going back. I was curious, what play did you went to see, and what play are you looking forward to but haven't yet had the chance to see?
Great question. So I think the first play that I saw, it's called The 7 Methods of Killing Kylie Jenner, which is a great title and isn't really about Kylie Jenner. But that was at the Royal Court, and I can't remember the name of the woman who wrote it, but it's a brilliant, brilliant play. And it was on, I think, just maybe 2019 or 2020, and it was sold out at the Royal Court, so I didn't get to go and see it. So the second I saw that they were doing it again, I was straight on it. It was really emotional experience, just to the smell of a theatre, to see the stage before anyone came out, see the set. It was amazing. And I've also since then seen Constellations.
Yes, Nick Payne.
Yeah, Nick Payne, which was fab. So I was lucky enough to go to 2 of the performances, because at the moment in London, they're doing it with different cast. So there's like 5 different pairings.
Is that for safety reasons?
No, I think it was just to see what people would bring to it in a different way. And having seen 2 different pairings of it, it's so different. It was kind of mind-blowing. You're like, oh, yeah, of course. And I saw, Russell Tovey and Amari Douglas doing, obviously, a same-sex, playing a gay couple, which was amazing. I love both of them, so that was fabulous. But what am I looking forward to going to see? God, so much. That is a really good question. I think I might be finishing, but a play called Paradise at the National is meant to be incredible. So I'm hoping to try and get to see that if I can. But everything's selling out because everyone's been so desperate. We've been caged up for so long. You can't get in anymore.
People are fed up with Zoom theater.
Which is great.
It's great.
I can wait.
Right. I remember the experience of seeing my first show after the pandemic, and I cried when people were started
Totally.
clapping. I was like, I forgot what this feels like.
And you just feel, you know that those actors will just be loving every minute, and you just felt so happy for them and happy to be in the audience, and yeah, just a joyous experience.
Yeah. Yes, please come to the microphone.
Hello.
Hello.
I want to ask who's your favorite character from the Harry Potter franchise besides your character?
Oh, I think my favourite character is Snape. I mean, what a journey. Like, incredible. I remember when, when he died, just, that was the saddest thing in the whole world. And reading that and, oh, yeah, I think Snape.
Yeah, thank you.
In the books and in the film.
Yeah, oh,
What a wonderful, wonderful journey.
yeah, yeah.
There you go.
Hello.
Hello.
So you mentioned one of the productions you've been in, getting drunk and stuff. So I've been wondering, were there any cool parties on the Witcher set or Harry Potter?
Do you know what? Well, Harry Potter, I think we were a bit too young to be partying too much. Towards the end, maybe. Yeah, and the premieres were always really, really fun. But yeah, the Witcher was a laugh. Filming in Hungary was just like heaven. Going out in Budapest, and there was one night as well in the Canary Islands. I don't know if anyone was here earlier, but I was talking about this magical day that we had on set where we were by the beach. But what I did fail to mention was that I was really hungover because we'd gone out the night before, me and Therica and Henry actually, and some of his team, and we'd had dinner and just drank a little bit too much, but it was such a laugh. I think there's something about, well, you guys were talking about it with when you guys went away for the last Comic-Con, where you kind of, it feels a bit naughty because you're away from home, even though we were always away from home because none of us lived in Hungary. Just being in the Canary Islands felt like a school trip, and it just felt like, oh, we're on holiday, even though we absolutely weren't on holiday, we're meant to be working. But that was really fun.
Thank you.
Thank you for getting that right, because you said Hungary and Budapest, and a lot of people get that wrong because we're Bucharest.
Yes.
And they always confuse
well, they
that
think
and mess it up. Yeah, there was like so many artists came in concerts and
like,
stuff. They're like, "Good
"Hello,
evening, Budapest," and we're like, "No."
There's that, didn't Britney do it once or something where she's like, hello, Chicago, and they're like, you're in Australia, what are you doing?
But yeah, thank you for getting that right.
Hey, you mentioned in an interview like 2 years ago, I think, that you were working on a podcast called Thirsty with a friend of yours. What happened with that?
Do you know what? Thirsty was great, and we had so much fun doing it, but then we both just got a bit too busy to put it out, but we actually have all the episodes, and now the problem is, I just think too much time has passed, so everything we're talking about is totally irrelevant, and pre-pandemic as well. So maybe one day we'll put it out there, or maybe we'll start from scratch. We'll see, but we had some really great guests on, so it's definitely something that I'm hoping that we might be able to do in the future. And also, the problem with Thirsty was that the premise was that basically we'd have a guest on, we'd kind of talk about their favourite drinks, we'd be drinking, and then you'd have this kind of silly conversation. And of course, when you're a little bit drunk, you think you're being really charming, really funny, all your anecdotes are just absolutely bang. And then you listen back and it's like we're slurring and talking over each other, and it just sounds really awful. So I think we need to maybe work on the premise a bit more before we release it out into the universe.
That's so funny.
I sound like I'm a massive lush. I am.
Hello. Where
Hello.
do you like to play the most, in Harry Potter or Witcher?
Sophie's choice. I mean, they're so different. I guess for me now, the opportunity with Triss has been greater than in the Harry Potter films. Playing Romilda was amazing, but, I joined, obviously the last film was split into 2, so technically I did, 3 films with Harry Potter, but, hopefully The Witcher will continue. There's lots of books we've got to get through, so I feel like the opportunity to explore that character further, for me right now is just so exciting. So I wouldn't say I prefer either of them, but I get to play a bit more with Triss, which is fun.
Okay, thanks. And did you read the Witcher books?
I did read the Witcher books.
Okay, cool. And do you know anything about season 2 story in similarity with the books? Something?
My lips are sealed. I've got amnesia. I can't remember anything. It's so strange.
Okay, thanks. And final question. Did you play the Witcher games?
I didn't play the Witcher games, but do you know what? I will. I feel like I should do. But because I think that was one of the problems maybe with when season 1 came out. I think so many of the game fans were expecting it to be a direct...
Replica.
What's
Replica?
the word? Yeah, replica of the game. But, you know, we're adapting books. And ultimately, fantasy is fantasy. You can have a little bit of fun, and there should be a bit of leeway for characters to take on different looks, for example. But in answer to your question, I have not played the games, but I will. They're on my list.
Recommend to play.
Okay, I will.
Okay, thank you very much. Have a great day.
Thank you. Nice to meet you. So hot.
Hi.
Hello.
What's your happiest memory from playing in the Harry Potter series?
Oh, so many happy memories. To be honest, because I'm a greedy pig, one of my happiest memories is the canteen. Because honestly, when I tell you, the catering was like Michelin-starred deliciousness. And every day, I couldn't even decide what option I would have. I was like, you know, a kid in a candy shop. And they even had loads of like candy shop things as well. It was heaven. I remember one time, like wanted a snack, so I went down to the canteen and they just have all these chocolate bars. And I was like, well, I can just take any of these chocolate bars and I don't have to pay and I can eat them. My mum's not here to say that I can't. This is amazing. So most of my happy memories revolve around stuffing my face and just kind of playing with everyone. We had the green room, you know, that we would be able to go to in between filming and in between doing our studying, and we'd play darts or pool or just tease each other, and it was just such a happy environment. And I know everyone says this, but like we did all get on. There wasn't one person that didn't get on with someone else, so it was just a really lovely, lovely time, and I look back with such fond memories.
It's so funny that you mentioned the food, because I feel like that's what it's like in the actual film as well, that they just have these long tables full of food.
Totally.
It's magic.
But you know, you need to feed people. You got to feed them well.
Yeah, fed people are happy people.
Yes.
They're productive people.
Exactly.
Yes, absolutely. I agree.
Hello again.
Hello.
My question for you is, what places have you visited so far in Romania?
Well, so far, I literally got in last night at about 9, so I visited the hotel. And then I came here today. So I've not really had the opportunity, but can you recommend where I should go?
Definitely to the art museum and maybe the contemporary art museum. They are beautiful.
Yeah.
The opera, possibly. And my favorite place in the world, which is Carti Carousel.
Yes.
This is this beautiful bookstore that looks like a castle inside.
Oh, wow. Okay, these are all things on my list. I have to leave tomorrow morning, so I'm not going to have too much time to do them.
Come back.
Exactly. I'll make a list. Thank you for your recommendations.
Thank you. We're definitely waiting for you to come back.
Yeah.
Hello.
He's back.
Hello. So, I don't know if you can tell us, but at the end of season 1, we left Triss injured at the Battle of Solon Hill. Can you tell us anything about her character arc in the second season?
I just don't think I can. But I can say that, as you said, we leave her very seriously injured. And as I don't know if any of you have ever been in an accident or been injured, but obviously the effect that that has on you physically and mentally stays with you for a really long time. So I think what we get to see is a different journey for Triss in season 2. One where she takes ownership over her own life a bit more, which is really exciting to see.
And I have one more question. We will see more of how Triss and Geralt's relationship evolves in the second season, if you know what I mean.
Just have to see.
Damn it.
I love how he added, if you know what I mean, at the end.
I know what you mean.
Thank you very much.
I was curious, just one moment.
Hey,
Hi.
I don't have any question. I just love you so much.
Oh, no
I'm a
way.
big fan.
Thank you so much. That's so kind of you to say. Thank you for coming here today. It's so lovely.
I love you.
Oh, thank you. What's your name?
Alexandra.
Alexandra. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
It's really sweet. I was curious, did you ever think about trying something else, like a different hat, like directing or writing? I know you mentioned the podcast, so I was thinking that, okay, like maybe she's trying to make her own work and stuff.
It's a funny one because I think often when you listen to interviews, like I'm such a big fan of film and TV myself. I love listening to podcasts about it. I love listening to interviews of actors or directors or writers. And so often you hear people saying, well, you know, I just felt like I had to make my own work. And so many people who are hugely successful now, Phoebe Waller-Bridge, for example, made her own work. But it's not as simple as that. Not everyone has those hats, you know? And I get frustrated when I hear that because it kind of puts the onus on actors to have to be completely multi-hyphenated. And some people are, and that's amazing and brilliant. But I just don't know that I have all of those skills. So I think I love acting. I think I would love to do some writing. But in terms of, like, you know, I've been acting since I was 14, and I'm 29 now, so quite a long time. And I still sometimes when I'm on a film set, I'm like, what does that do? Like, I'm still clueless about it. If you got me to direct something, it would be the worst thing in the whole world. I'm like, I say the words, that's all I know how to do. Don't make me do anything else, please.
But I think a lot of people are multi-hyphenates because they want to like make it as an actor, for example. So the fact that you're already making it as an actor is like, you know.
For sure. I think it's something that I think about. You know, we all hope in any creative industry that you have longevity. So far, I've been really lucky to be able to do what I love for this amount of time, but I'm also aware that you never know what's around the corner. And I guess, you know, the pandemic showed us how quickly these things can be taken away from you. And so for me, I think as long as I'm able to do things that I love, I'm so happy to continue riding this wave. And I was so lucky, I kind of fell into it by accident. So I'm just hoping that my luck doesn't run out. But you know, if it does, hey, that's life.
Hello.
Hello.
I hope you had a great time here in Romania till now.
Thank you. I have. Thank you.
That's awesome. My question is, with which actor did you enjoy talking or playing in the Harry Potter movies?
Oh, I loved any scene with any of the adult actors was obviously just like a total masterclass in acting. I remember when we did the potion scene with Jim Broadbent, and you're just like, I'm in a scene with an absolute legend. You've got Maggie Smith walking around, Alan Rickman, just a total god. I remember just always trying to be near Alan Rickman because obviously I'm obsessed with Snape anyway, but he's so incredible. And in the canteen, I'd always be trying to sit near him. I think he was like, please go away.
I love him too.
Yeah, he's just so incredible. So I think, for me, obviously it was amazing to be with all my younger mates who I was with, but anytime you were in a scene with the adults, you felt like, oh, I'm really watching magic here. This is amazing.
Yeah.
Really watching magic here.
Magic.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you so much.
Are there any other questions? I think we have time for one or two more.
Don't be shy.
You have 5 more minutes. This is your last chance. There you go.
Hello.
Hi. Tell us about your favorite book.
Oh, wow. Wow. Well, so usually I would say that my favourite book is Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. And for my 18th birthday, my parents got me a first edition copy of the book. And it's like one of my most treasured possessions. It came obviously really battered. You can barely read it. It's like, you know, it's fucked up. But my mum got a guy in Paris to recreate the original sleeve because it came without the sleeve, so I've got that on it as well. So I'd say that's one of my all-time favourite books in the whole world. But obviously, since the pandemic, I've done so much reading, so it's been so great to kind of check in with some other classics. I'm trying to think what the last amazing book I read. I go really in and out of love with books because either I'm reading 5 in a week and I'm obsessed and no one speaks to me, I've got this amazing book, or I go for months and I'm like, reading? What's that? Remember that? That's cool. But yeah, I'd say, Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier.
I'd say in a weird way that was a good thing about the pandemic, that we just sort of, if we're trying to see the good side, that we just sort of like sat at home and we're like, okay, I guess I'm gonna read now and catch up on my reading list, which is endless.
Exactly. There was one tiny positive to it.
Exactly. Okay, one last question. Okay, hello.
Hello.
Hi.
My question is, who is your favorite actor and why?
Big question. Oh gosh, there's so many amazing actors. I mean, I'd say Leo's up there, Leonardo DiCaprio. I just think he never does a bad role, does he? He's incredible. Gary Oldman, he's great. Also Harry Potter alumni. So you've got to give him a shout out. In terms of female actors, who am I loving at the moment? I mean, Florence Pugh's great, isn't she? She can't really put a foot wrong either. I've not really thought about that question. I'll have to have another think, and the next time I'm here, I'll have a whole list for you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. That's all we have
so much
time
for having me, Maria.
Everyone, Anna Shaffer, please give her a round of applause.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
And we hope you'll come back next year.
Yes, please. Yes, please. Thanks, guys. See you later.
Please stay tuned for our next panels of today. We have Ed Westwick later. We have John Romero. So please stay tuned. And thank you, everyone.